Good evening and welcome back to another episode of the Picnic Table Chat Show. I am your host Tom from Ants on the Rock, and this is season 5, episode 11. What a long way it's been. It's nearly a year into us doing these shows. But so as we start, a massive welcome to everyone viewing on all the different platforms and listening in the future on any of the podcast channels. Thank you for signing in. So what has been going on? It's not been overly busy on the ant front in the last few days, apart from in the Polybacchus dive tank, and I'm going to tell you all about it in just a second. So, the Polybacchus dive tank, as you know, has had a nuptial flight lately. This nuptial flight has happened within the tank, and many queens have been mated with on the nest itself and within the tank. Now, it's been a bit of a task, but I've managed to get quite a few out of the tank and into test tubes. So that's quite exciting to have all these new Polybacchus dive queens in the test tubes. Give it a couple of weeks, they should start laying some eggs, and they might make their way onto the website for selling. So on that note as well, in a couple of weeks, falling in line with Polybacchus dives becoming available, in a couple of weeks, we will hit 1 year of streaming these chat shows. So for a 1 year celebration anniversary sort of thing, I'm thinking I'll do a giveaway of one of our Polybacchus dive queens. Now these queens, I have filmed them being mated with, I've watched them walk off afterwards, tear off their wings, and then I've managed to catch them. So I'm 99.9% sure they're fertile and ready to go, but we're going to give them a couple of weeks to start laying anyways. So happy days, I say. So keep signing in, and in 2 weeks' time, we will be doing a Polybacchus dive queen as a giveaway to celebrate 1 year of these live chat show streaming things. Now, you've actually caught me in the middle of eating a bowl of ice cream, so I'm just going to continue eating my bowl of ice cream. But I am going to continue talking as well. And I know that's kind of big for this ice cream. Like, it shouldn't matter too much. You're not going to hear me like crunching. Oh dear. So what else has been going on? We are going out tomorrow. We are going out to do a little bit of filming and have a little wild exploration tomorrow. It's going to be really exciting, really fun. It should take up a good part of the day as well. We're going to go to a few different places, get lots of different footage, ready for a new series that is coming out on the channel. I have said that I've been doing some filming and getting things prepared to releasing more videos again soon. So we have got a new series coming onto the channel to join the ongoing series that we have. So we're also bringing back the old series of the Ants on the Rock reviews. The Ants on the Rock reviews are going to be coming back, and we've got a new series coming to the channel, which I'm not going to tell you about yet. And we do have some more regular videos coming to the channel as well. So lots of things coming back to the channel over the next few weeks. We've been working hard in the background, getting it all ready just to explode it all back in at once, sort of thing, rather than trickling it in. You know what it's like, just kind of getting ready and phew, there it is. But so my moderators are actually away. Both my moderators are actually away at the moment. Katrina is unavailable and Dean is unavailable. So a massive hello to them, even though they're not here. They will watch this stream at some point. But without them, I feel kind of lost because they're not here to, I don't know, keep me on the straight and narrow. But without Katrina and Dean, it's kind of weird. It's like, where are you guys? It's a stream and I need my moderators. But yeah, so we're not going to go for a massively long time tonight, mainly because, like I say, I haven't got my moderators and I'm not going to do that. But I haven't got a massive amount to tell you either. Like I said, I haven't done overly loads on the ant front. Everything's kind of been ticking along nicely. The millipedes, did I tell you that the millipedes have had their babies? How cute they really are. My giant African millipedes. Now, I take these out to my event and shows and whatnot, and whilst we were holding them the other day, I noticed that nearby to one of the ones that I picked up, there was actually a baby. So I don't know how many babies are in there, but I know I've counted at least 3 now within the tank. Be assured, I'm always very, very careful when I pick up any of my insects at any of these events. And I can pretty much guarantee I didn't harm any babies because there wasn't any around the one that I did pick up. It is always a cool thing to happen in the ant colonies to have a new set of babies. So I just got a little bit distracted by the Nicos. The Nicos are always non-stop. Have you ever noticed that? They either don't show themselves at all, or they're absolutely everywhere running about like nutters. And they are really fast ants. Really exciting. I do like my Nicos. I think they're on the same sort of par as Polybacchus dives. Really exciting to watch. Really active, quite aggressive. Just generally great ants, but they do take that little bit of extra care and attention. So that's why I like to put them on par with the Polybacchus dives. If you're coming onto your first sort of exotics, I'd say Polybacchus dives and Capomyrtus nicobarensis are really on the same sort of care level, which is a good bar. Is that the right terminology for it? A good level, to come from if you're coming from beginner stages. So I'm just eating my bowl of ice cream before it melts. The last thing you want is a bowl of cream. No. So, other things are happening. I say lots of things happening in the background rather than actually in the ant corner at the moment. We have some brilliant new products being tested out across a range of our customers. I can't tell you details of them, but I'm going to say there's 2 of our new products on the screen right now. I'm not going to tell you what they are. But so they are being tested by myself, a few of my customers and my moderators and staff, just to make sure that they're all good and whatnot before they go on the market. I'm pretty confident. I'm pretty happy with them so far, but obviously they have to go through that testing period. So it'll be a little while before they do hit the shelves, but we do have some awesome new products coming to the store. What else has been going on? Now, I'm just looking around. So I've got myself a few new colonies because I just can't help myself sometimes. So I've got some big-headed Fedoli ants because they are beautiful, awesome little ants. But my other Fedolis, I had some Fedoli Noda, and they were doing okay, and they were doing fine actually. I thought they were doing all right, and then I put them into a natural formicarium. I think I told you about this on Sunday. Now going to feed them on yesterday. I think they're dead. I think they have all perished. Like I haven't seen a single out and I'm pretty sure I've seen a dead queen or two. Now I will get in there and have a look probably tomorrow because like I say I haven't seen any activity over the waxworm carcass or any of that. I'm quite confident that they're dead. It's not good. So I've got myself a different Fedoli colony because I do like my Fedolis. Let's try again. Like I say, it's just a. But I do like the big-headed ones. I can never pronounce it. Fedoli whatever, palladilla. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I've got myself some big-headed Fedoli ants. They'll go down really well. I like the kids like them. I like them. So yeah. And another cool thing about them is they do eat smaller grains as well. Only really small ones in comparison to what other ants will eat, but they will. So that's kind of a bonus, a bit different. My Lasius niger colony that I've been kind of about, they're still like carrying on as they should be, really, not really doing a lot either way. I don't think their numbers are decreasing still, but they definitely haven't increased. There's more tunnels being dug and more space available, which is odd because I think the colonies expand into that space, just digging it. They're just digging it. What I did think was it would be really cool to get one of these T-shaped formicariums where they get to dig their own colonies and put my Tetramonium, whatever, the Tet bees in them, because they just expanding so rapidly and so aggressively. It would be interesting to watch deal with the digging situation, how fast the nest develops. But I haven't got another one of these nests currently. I might make one. We've got a fair bit of making coming up over the next few weeks and months. So I might add it to the list and get some extra wood and so on. I say wood, I mean more like, what is it, acrylic and stuff. You know what I mean, I'll add it to the list. Oh, my list. My list is a never-ending, never stopping, growing piece of paper. I fill up one side, I stick the other side, and before I know it, I've got 6 sides of paper and a long old list as well. But I will get through my jobs one day. The problem is that sort of person that as soon as you finish a job, there's always another job. There's always a thing on the market. Let's work towards. Speaking of, if you haven't already checked it out, check out the different events we are holding. They're always like, we got the wrong banner. We want that one. Sorry about that. The events we're holding, our event in Sheffield is going to be absolutely special. In February, it is the Great Ant Exhibition Sheffield 2023. Loads of vendors. We have almost filled the first hall. We will be doing some more. I'm going to tell you, we've got a lot going on. Loads of vendors, loads of stuff on the stages. To make pretty much packing out already on the other front. And then if our the 13th, I will be holding the Jurassic Coast Wild Exhibition. Now, this is not an ant show. This is just a show for the locals. It is, let's say, it's more one for the locals. It's going to be a showcase of this local, some around the Jurassic Coast where I live, because we have some life and some really cool research and so on around the local area that would love to share their stuff with you. So it's a great opportunity for them to show off what they've been doing. So that's if you're local to the Weymouth area, check that one out. But if you're more further north, check out the Sheffield X. So that's going to be an absolutely spectacular event. I think it's going to be an absolutely spectacular event. The one in Weymouth, size-wise, is actually almost 4 times the size of the one we're going to be holding in Sheffield, which is absolutely crazy. It is a massive, massive show. It's the biggest show that we'll be holding. But like I say, it's not an ant show. It's that's why we've gone bigger, because it's not an ant show. It is more of a all-round presentation of everything amazing around here. So yeah, we can go a bit bigger with it, but it is about 4 times the size of Sheffield, and Sheffield's not small. And it's going to be an absolutely amazing day. Lots of hard work going into it, as always. You know what I'm like. But it's going to be great, and we're supported by some amazing people and some great companies aiming to come on board and support the show as well. So and everyone else working along in the background, because it's not just me now. I do have a team and a committee which helps me set up these events and do a few things and whatnot. So it is a massive joint effort now. Mainly done by me, but it is a bit more of a joint effort. So it all of them for putting in their hard work, and of course staffing the events. A massive thank you to all my staff for coming down. We're going to have Dean. He's quite possibly going to travel like the length of the country to come to some of my events. Like Sheffield's quite close for him. I have to travel up to him for Sheffield, whereas he had to travel down to me for Bristol, so it's kind of fair. And yeah, we like to do fairness and swings and roundabouts and sort of things on my channel. So what's that? People living over some youth that... Oh, so I was just following the news. See, I've been avidly following the news lately, mainly keeping an eye on what's going on in Russia and Ukraine. It's very interesting the way they've made their comeback. Someone at the start of the Russian and Ukrainian war suggested to me to do like an animation of what's going on, but an ant form. Now that Ukraine's sort of winning, I might do it. It's not so like black-hearted or whatever. What's the word? Black comedy or dark humor. That's it. It's not quite such dark humor now that Ukraine's actually winning or doing potentially really well. Let's be honest, Russia is going to lose. I don't think Putin's going to last much longer in power. But we're not going to get into that on this stream. But it is an interesting situation and an interesting time for the entire world, I will say. Other things that have been going on. Now, we talked about Lord of the Rings last time. I'm going to talk a little bit about Andor this time. I say Lord of the Rings, it was Rings of Power. Don't get those two confused. They are separate things, but much of the same. So the Andor series, again, really good, really been enjoying it, but it doesn't quite feel like Star Wars. It's a bit bit odd. Now we're getting a bit further in. I'm not going to give any spoilers about today's episode, of course. It's getting better, but it's still not quite there. And I was actually quite disappointed by some of what I've seen. I'm hoping it gets better. And it's more about the timeline, the way it's going to fit in before Rogue One. I think that's going to be pretty cool. But I don't know. I haven't really overly enjoyed it. Not like Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan was amazing from like episode 1. This is sort of really taken time to build into it and develop any kind of storyline, let alone character development or plot. But anyways, I'm not a movie critic, I'm an ant person. So let's talk ants. I haven't actually got a lot to tell you about my ants. Like I say, they're all kind of ticking along nicely. I do have quite a few awesome colonies at the minute. I'm really enjoying Formica fusca. I love Formica as a whole genus. I think they're absolutely amazing. They're always very active, always aggressive, much like the Nikos and the Polydives. But I don't know, I just think they're beautiful little ants as well. Especially the Formica rufibarbus. Sorry, my mind just went completely blank then. Formica rufibarbus, they are absolutely stunning. Wow, that Nico's fast. It's running about like a nut. That must be the sugars that he's on, um, burning off all these extra calories. But yeah, I think they're absolutely beautiful ants, the Formica. They are obviously a little hard to keep, and they do have a tendency to last a while. But I've not had any issues with them. I've kept them for quite a while. Two colonies that I am looking after myself, and I'm literally looking at a worker right now out in East part of them. So they're doing really well, and the other colony's just like with you, a bit obscured by another outworld, but I'm sure they're doing all right as well. I haven't had any issues with any colonies lately, which has been really nice. They've all just, like I say, been taken along, not really doing a lot. The Mesostrata colonies, they're so cool. Now they've got those larger majors. I don't know, I've really taken a shining for the Mesostratas. They're one of my favourite messes so far. I don't have all the messes, obviously, um, but they out of the three species of mesa that I do have, they are my favourite. Now, the only problem with mesa is they're just such a messy species. I know they're harvesters and whatnot, but like they just leave a trail of mess and dirt everywhere they go, and there's not a lot you can really do to stop it. Like every time they finish a seed, they come and bring like the leftovers out or whatever, and I don't know. There's just they accumulate rubbish a lot faster than anybody else. Is what I'm just trying to say. But yeah, so basically I've spent most of my day just keeping an eye on the Polybacchus dive tank. Every time I see a queen ant that's sort of accessible, I'm getting in there with test tubes and cotton and seeing what I can do. Now, one of them I actually saw, she was on the glass of the tank, and as I looked at her, she fell into the pond. I was like, oh my God. Well, I ran over there and she actually had landed on the moss and it was all completely fine. So I managed to get her, but that was a scary moment. It was like, oh no, this beautiful, beautiful queen. Even if I wasn't going to catch it, I wouldn't want to see a newly mated, beautiful Polybacchus dive queen fall into the pond and be eaten potentially by the crabs because they're still knocking about. I mean, there's one, he's been looking at me all day. He's been sat at the bottom of the water fountain, the waterfall, sorry, whatever you want to call it. Been sat at the bottom and his claws are white, which basically means that he needs to get in there and molt. I don't know why he hasn't. He's probably just waiting for the exact right time. But to me, it looks like he needs to get in there and molt. His claws are white, his body's going white. He's basically molting there and there. But he needs to be submerged because if they don't submerge themselves whilst molting, it can cause a lot of issues, really. So I don't know. I'm sure he'll probably go over and do that this evening, and there'll be a fresh molt lying there in the morning, and it'll be nothing to worry about. So not an issue. I did actually manage to get into the pond the other day and I dug it out a little bit because the amount of silt and dirt that had built up in the deep area of the pond had pretty much made like 4 inch deep water into about 2 inch deep. And it just, for the larger crabs, it's just not deep enough to like fully submerge themselves. So I dug it out a little bit, got out a few of the carcasses, not carcasses, but molts that were in there and things like that. But there was just so much dirt built up. And I reinforced the sort of dam section that's holding together the whole pond and like makes it function as well. So that was a bit of a task. There was ants absolutely everywhere, crawling over my hands and whatnot. I got bitten several times, but generally speaking, it wasn't too bad. Now I am saying in the next few months, we're going to be changing this tank massively. We're going to pull the pond out completely and fill it in. The pond's going into a new tank that's going to be like an extension tank. We're going to put the two tanks together and put like a big branch between them so that the ants can crawl between, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. So the pond's going to be moved over to tank number 2 with a lot of the other creepy crawlies and wildlife from this tank, so that the ants can just expand their nest without killing off everything else, basically. So yeah, they're gonna have that extension. It's gonna be absolutely fabulous and spectacular, and it's gonna be a work of art because I've been planning it for a while now. I've really got some great ideas in my head. Like I say, I'm going to be moving the pond out of this one and into that one, so they will have the vampire crabs in it again. So there is obviously that to take into note when I'm planning. There's obviously a lot that I take into note when I'm planning, but that is the main thing that I'm going to have to build around is the pond section that is required. Otherwise, I'm going to have to put up a whole nother tank for the vampire crabs, which I could do because I've got another tank behind me that's empty. But I kind of know what I want to do with that one as well, and it doesn't involve crabs. Again, it's a never-ending next job onto the next job for me, which isn't a bad thing. That's the way I like to be. You don't want to get bored, especially if you love what you do. You know, there's always the next thing to do. But I think we are just about heading to the end of the stream now. I'm afraid it is just a short one tonight, but we will be back on Sunday with some interesting things to talk about. And so I am going out tomorrow, and I am doing a lot of filming and just having a wild exploration. So it's going to be some great footage coming out from that. Some brilliant videos coming out on the channel. Make sure you've subscribed and hitting that bell button because there's going to be lots coming out in the next few weeks and months and so on. Don't forget, obviously, we do live stream all our events as well. So if you're hitting that bell icon, you'll be able to watch the event the minute it comes live in Sheffield in February. So a massive thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. If you're interested in joining my Patreon, check it out via the links. They should be in the description. If not, then just check it out on Patreon. Type in Ants on the Rock, and we're there. It's £3 a month, but it makes a massive difference to supporting this channel. But either way, a massive thank you to everyone for signing in, watching, listening now, and in the future. You're absolutely spectacular, and thank you very much. Without forgetting to say it, basically, a massive thank you to our show sponsors, Answer and Valhalla Martial Arts, who are both absolutely fantastic, supporting the show the way you do, helping us grow and expand into new areas of interestedness. We have got some really cool stuff coming up in the next few weeks. I'm not going to tell you who we've got interviews with, but it's not something you're going to want to miss. So again, hit that bell icon if you haven't. But that is all tonight. That is all from me. So as always, I'll see you again soon, Ant fans. Good night.